and welcome back. It's been a little bit of a dry spell.
It has been a dry spell.
I'm glad that your voice is coming back.
I know. I haven't had a voice for a couple of weeks. I've been unable to be on the feed.
Yeah.
Last week we couldn't do the feed at all.
Yeah, we had a little bit of
technical difficulties.
It was a 4-year-old baby. A 4-day-old baby, not 4-year-old.
They can cause some technical difficulties.
Yes, they can. And,
so we are
but
back.
Between your voice and babies and all sorts of stuff, we're back.
We're back. We're glad to be here. We have a lot of differing topics today. We're kind of doing what I call a Seinfeld episode of Fact TV. We have a lot of different things to talk about. The first thing is really want to push that Chicago is coming. That's the big production that Main Street Arts is doing this year. They're busily doing the sets. I think they're rehearsing at the theater tonight. They've been rehearsing and working on the show since the get-go in January. And I believe that I've heard that ticket sales are going really well.
Oh, good.
They've already they've sold more tickets, pre-tickets this year than the previous years. So if you're interested in going to Chicago, it's only 2 weekends. It's March 28th to 30th, and then April 4th to 6th. There's Thursday and Friday night performances at 7:30, and Saturday matinee matinees at 2:30, and then an evening performance at 7:30. So there's not a lot of shows.
Right. And they are really building up on
They're building momentum. So don't wait to get your tickets. Don't wait until if you hear that the first week was good and then try to get tickets, you're not going to get tickets.
So, which is great. I mean, it's really sort of achieving that dream of having the Opera House be a real destination of people can come and see something, and you and I experienced it last night.
Right.
We went to see a great movie, and it was a lot of fun, and that's sort of the steady, but then we have these peak events that are really...
I think it's really, I give a shout out to David and to Main Street Arts for really pushing. They got a lot of flack that first year.
Yeah.
I remember there was a lot of flack. People were upset about movies, not being able to be shown on the weekend, and would it mean that we never could get movies again? And so there was a lot of flack, but I think that he's proven that the theater can host a number of different, which is what it's meant to be. It's meant to be not just a movie house, it's the opera house.
In an ideal world, yes, and they've really stretched it. I want to, I would put that out on both sides. It's Rick and his crew there that have accommodated them, and the town that's been accepting finally of this whole thing, and the town government, they've really helped them out. And when you think about it, just for those weekends, the restaurants and everything.
Everybody benefits.
Everybody benefits.
Yeah.
I hear our new restaurant, the Blue Silo, is going to try to open before Chicago.
Oh, are they? Okay, because we were just talking about that this morning, that they have to do they have to get past the zoning and everything, because they want to move the kitchen.
Tough, then.
They want to move the kitchen, so that's a tight. But kitchens can be put in pretty quickly. They're putting the kitchen into the basement, I believe, is the plan. So there's more seating upstairs.
Yeah.
Some exciting things coming, and right at the perfect time, right at the end of the winter, when you're kind of like, it's not spring yet, and you want something to do. So the March and April are perfect.
But Sunday was Groundhog Day.
Sunday was Groundhog Day.
He didn't see I can't remember which one. Whatever he did was a good thing, because they say that we're going to have an early spring.
He didn't see a shadow.
He did see a shadow.
I don't know.
He did not
whatever
see
it was,
a shadow, because he wasn't frightened back yet.
Okay, so it's only 6 more weeks.
Yes, only 6 more weeks of
as
winter.
Opposed to a month and a half.
Yes. As opposed, yes. So we're really ahead on that. And if you looked at the weather yesterday, you would have
thought that Groundhog Day.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Right.
It was just a great day. I hope we get more days like that. Today is supposed to be a little not so.
We're back to winter now.
But anyway, so we got Groundhog Day. We had Super Bowl Sunday.
Super Bowl Sunday.
You were happy.
I was happy the Patriots won. I have to admit, I might have fallen asleep in the third quarter, so I didn't actually see the win. But it's been interesting, because a lot of people at the gym, there's certain conversations that go around, and a lot of people will ask, did you watch the game? And I said yes, and I said it was kind of boring. They're like, oh, but it was such a good defensive game, and it was a good defensive game. If you really are in the true art of the sport.
Right, you would appreciate it more, but I have the same feeling you do. It's like, well, not much happened, but then when you think about it, it was not much happened because there was a lot happening.
Yeah, because the coaches were really, I mean, I think it was a lot of strategic, and so for the true football, like aficionado, I guess would be the right term, it probably was a stellar game.
Yeah. Unless you were not from New England, and then the rest of the world hates us again.
Unless you're a Patriots hater, Lord knows there's lots of those out there.
It sort of kills me that happens, but anyway.
What I liked was all of the memes on Facebook yesterday about the Patriot haters, or the past couple days about all the Patriot haters.
All the good memes come out on right after the Super Bowl. It's really funny.
Of course they do.
Yes. Let's see what else is going on. Just another. One of the reasons we weren't on last week is I don't know if you know that Alex is a foster parent, and he and his family have gone, I think, above and beyond as far as helping other families in the community by being foster parents and watching, taking care of the kids while family situations get straightened out. And he has a newborn baby.
I know, that's
that
crazy.
He's taking care of. He's incredible. I just can't imagine. Went through babies twice,
but you had 9 months notice.
Exactly, I had 9 months to get ready. I can't imagine just going in and jumping in. So he's great. I want a big shout out to Alex today. And just if anyone's interested, it's today on Wednesday at noon on VPR. There's going to be a whole hour-long show about foster parenting in Vermont and the issues.
Well, I think there's a big void, isn't there? There's a huge need for foster
I think that
parents.
there definitely is, because I think I'm sharing a little bit but I think Alex said when they were going to take a break, they were like, they had just finished up fostering some kids and they were going to take a break, and they said, put us at the bottom of the list, and they got called like the next day.
Yeah, I think I've seen that there's a big void. I think if you're in a position where you could do it, and you're looking to do some type of something for the communities and something that's really needed, I think people are always in the back of their minds are always wondering how they can help.
Yeah, that's
how they can help, and this is certainly
and it's a way of helping.
It's a commitment.
It's a huge commitment.
Huge commitment, and you have to be. I think you have to be a certain type of person. You have to be probably in a certain place in your life where you can do that. But I think that it's a definite need in the state of Vermont right now. I think there's a lot of
I imagine in the
kids being born,
country
everywhere.
in general, just with the opioid crisis and everything going on, there are a lot of families that are really in crisis and having a difficult time.
And actually, I'm going to jump into this because I just heard if you're looking to do some type of community service, they are looking for someone to run for select board.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a need. I believe there's. I don't know exactly, but I've heard through town that they're looking for new candidates for select board. Some people are getting done with the
I thought that the time
board.
period had just ended because they were trying to wait on the to do your petitions and get them in, and maybe we could check on
maybe.
that. But I thought I read an article or saw it posted.
Because you're right. That's coming right up.
That there was there's actually a gap now. That there's some people that maybe one position that isn't going. No one's running for it because the person that they thought was going to try to do it wasn't able to get their petition in. Or something.
Okay. But I think you can also, if you're interested, you can be appointed.
Oh, and that's true. Or you could be a write-in. You could always do
a writing campaign. That's true.
Campaign.
That's true.
And maybe you should.
And Mike will help you if you want to do a writing campaign. Mike will stand outside the voting and hold your sign up for you. We tried to get somebody yesterday to do it. That's why it got me thinking about it.
Oh, really? Who were you trying to get to do it?
I'm not going to divulge names because the person was not interested. But we said, yeah, we'll help you. We'll get the signs out there for you. And but anyway, it's always a good thing to do some service in the community. If you live in the community, I think that you have kind of an innate obligation to do some type of something to give back to your community.
Right. Because we really are very interdependent and very, I don't want to say fragile, but fragile is a good word, I think. Just lately, several things happening in the last few months have made me feel like yeah, we have a good thing going, but there's no telling when it just could all collapse. I mean, this recent thing with Springfield Hospital, it's just, I don't know if people know, but Springfield Hospital's been experiencing some financial difficulties, and they're actually going through a restructuring right now. There's an article in the paper today about that the health center in Bellows Falls is actually safe, that they didn't do any layoffs here, and they don't plan on doing any layoffs here. But in Springfield, they laid off 20 people or something like that, and then they're cutting back their budget, and they have to do more. And so when you think everything's going good, I mean the idea, I mean the Greater Rockingham Area Services was founded on when
Rockingham Memorial Hospital
right,
became
so
defunct.
it's sort of like we thought we'd had it all together, and we're pretty stable now. And our whole mission is to keep healthcare in the community, and so when these things happen, you feel like, whoa, what's going on? It's like just when you think everything's going to sort of, it's not good, it's not great, but it's not bad, and then something like this happens, and you're like, well.
And I think that's a good point. You touched on it, but I think people really need to understand this building. This building is not owned by Springfield Hospital. So many people think that Springfield Hospital owns the building, the premises, the fitness center. It is not. It is owned by Greater Rockingham Area Services,
which is a not-for-profit organization that is actually owned by the people of Bellows Falls. There's a board, and there are incorporators. They're all people who live in Bellows Falls, or citizens of Bellows Falls and across the river. We have a few people that live across the river, but it's mainly people who live in Bellows Falls. And so if you think about this
facility
and what it is, it's yours. It's the people watching
It's a Bellows
this
Falls
TV
facility.
show own this
Right.
building.
It's not a Springfield Hospital owned facility. It's something that's under Bellows Falls control.
Yeah.
And same with the health center. The health center, a lot of people think that the fitness center is owned by Springfield Hospital. We're not. We're not in that pipeline at all.
Well, we are in the pipeline in the sense that they rent space from
They're
us.
our major renter.
And they are members of the they have many people who are members of the gym, but
correct.
they're not really, they don't have an ownership
Right.
of it.
Right.
Yeah. So that's good to remember. What else is going on?
Well, we probably should talk a little bit about what's going on here at Fact TV.
Yeah, that's a good, not a happy segue, but a good segue.
No, it's not a happy segue.
Again, when you get to the point where you think things are going really well, and then something that's totally out of your control can throw you a loop. Recently, there's been a petition or a motion put before the FCC, the Federal Communication Commission, that would allow cable companies to defray their costs to and to different areas. Basically, saying that when cable companies came into being, and there was a big worry that that over the air television would die completely. And local TV would die completely because all these cable companies would take over, and then there would be no local news. And there was a big push at the time in Congress to create cable access. And so that's how these PEG, public educational and governmental stations, were created. And it was through an act of Congress that said cable companies need to set aside a certain amount of money that would go toward allowing people to have first access to their cable networks.
So they have, if you look on your Comcast bill or your VTEL bill, there's going to be a little line, and it says PEG access. It's like probably what, $2 or $3 per household that you pay per month, and that money traditionally was earmarked to go by the government to go directly to the public cable station in the area.
In
like
that area.
Comcast in our area, the money comes in and goes to Fact TV. VTEL in our area goes to Fact TV. Brattleboro Comcast goes to Brattleboro public access. So the money that you pay as consumers was passed through Comcast and then put in, and that's how public access was funded.
Yeah,
and now that's...
So the FCC is considering a rule that says, well, maybe that money doesn't need to go directly to the cables, to access stations. Maybe that money can go toward building out other networks or doing.
Or to lining the pockets of Comcast.
Yes, no. That's how we see it.
Not to be cynical at all.
But what it's done is it's sort of put our funding in jeopardy, and it also has created a great deal of uncertainty. Because we really don't know. There's going to be a ruling sometime this summer, but we have no idea what's going to happen. Whether they're going to say, no, that's crazy. This was designed, to allow people, because it really comes down to First Amendment rights.
Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, and the idea that you can't control speech, and that people should have access to to express themselves. And that's why we can sit here on a Wednesday morning and express our feelings about and it's basically, it's freedom of speech. And how this works out is going to be an interesting thing. We'll try to keep you posted. We're trying not to panic and say, Fact TV is going out of business, but we are looking at, trying to figure out what we can do, whether we can do fundraising or try to create local support or just things that need to be done. And it's created an uncertainty here. So,
but it's kind of a reality, folks, that things were set up for a reason, to keep a First Amendment, to keep the ability of anyone in the community can come in here with an opinion. They can tape a show, whether their opinion is popular or not. They have the right to tape a show and to have it be shown on Fact TV and to get their word out there. And that could be lost, that ability, because the cable companies
could basically say we're going to spend that money that we spent on Fact TV is actually going to go toward upgrading our 5G network. And that's such an ambiguous thing that you would never, that's like this huge sponge of money suck that's right there. It could be anything.
So, I don't know what as citizens we can do to lobby.
I think you could call your congressperson and say, hey, this is happening. I'm not really happy with it. Is there something? There was a time for public comment. I think that time is sort of closed, but that doesn't mean you can't express your concern. The other thing that is really important is that the most popular thing is, you would think the feed would be the most popular thing on Fact TV, but it's not.
It is for Tom and Chris Miller.
Yeah, well, we're going to get to them later.
We're going to get to them later. Okay, I'm jumping the gun. But
it's just town meetings. Town meetings and the government meetings and library board meetings and school board meetings. All those things are really important, especially in Bellows Falls, where we have the Brattleboro paper, and it does cover, it covers our meetings, but a lot of times it seems to cover our meetings from the coverage on Fact TV. But we won't. We love to share, and that's a good thing, and I guess that's another way of saying, that's the importance of us, is that if the papers use us as, if not primary source of news, as a backup source of news, then it shows that we really are doing something good in the community, and would be good to be supported.
And in this, in this day and age, because we have Fact TV has the ability to go out live on Facebook, people can watch the meetings live. They can stay informed, and I think it's a necessary, even in this day of instant information, and you can get it. I think it's an old school necessity to have a public access station, and I think over the years there's been a lot of good things that have been done by public access stations for kids. Kids can come in. There's a lot of over the years we've had interns here, summer camps. Getting kids interested and getting them look at
The Broad Brothers.
The Broad Brothers, they came in on a summer camp, and they're making it their career, and they're doing really well with filmmaking. And they started out, and I think they started out with an innate love of filmmaking, but they were able to explore it at Fact TV and at public access TV. It's one of those, to me, it's one of those small town things, those kind of Americana things you don't want to lose.
Yeah. I don't know if people know that the Broad Brothers are actually two kids that were, I think they ended up going to Compass School for a while, but and graduated probably 5 years ago, maybe?
Probably. I think they're almost through their Syracuse
But when they
University.
were little kids, like when they were probably 8 or 9, they started making zombie movies and stuff, and they would work with Jake, and Jake would help them edit and stuff, and they would do a summer camp, and they did every summer they would do a movie, and it was really interesting. I was on a couple of the movies, so I had a good time. It was a lot of fun, and they went on and now they've gone to film school. They're producing films that they're showing on Vimeo now. I don't know if you knew that.
So, yeah.
And they're pretty good.
They have their own. I think they've created their own company, Broad Brothers Productions.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's sort of one of those things that you wouldn't think that, here we are in Little Bellows Falls, that we could create something like that. But then I think Alex currently has 3 kids that are interning from the high school. So it's a after school it's not even an after school program. It's sort of an in school, out of school program that allows kids who may not have exactly traditional school interests to reach out and to blossom and to try something that's different that they were not going to be able to do in the high school setting.
Plus, I mean, again, because we don't have one specific paper around here, it makes a nice place for businesses and nonprofits to get word out about events.
Yes.
With the PSAs and coming on the feed.
And as we're talking about that, because one of the things we wanted to say is we've had several people call and want to be on the feed. And if you want to be on the feed, if you want to promote what you do or your business or a not-for-profit that you represent, you should call the station and ask for Alex, and it's 463-1613. That's the number, and we would schedule you to be on the feed. You could be on a whole show, like a half hour, or you can be on for 15 minutes, and we cut to a clip, and then you can be off, or you can be on for 10 minutes. Or even if you just want to do I'm really, we're doing a play, or we're doing an open mic, or we're doing,
if you have posters and events, get them to us, and that's part of the thing that I gather is I try to gather the weekly events, and I basically go based upon either what I see on Facebook or what we have for posters here on our bulletin board outside the gym, but I don't get posters on everything. So people can send me posters electronically. You can send them to grfit@sauver.net. That's the email, and I can print them out, and we can make sure we get you in the local events section, because it seems like I'm sure there's many more local events happening this weekend than I know about.
Oh, yeah.
So it seems like it's a dry spell in local events, but I think it's just because I don't have posters on them.
Yeah, I think that's true. Because it's actually not a dry spell.
We have 2 minutes.
We have 2 minutes. We got to get going. Well, I was going to say that I saw several. We went to the movie last night. We saw several things that we haven't mentioned. That there's an open mic coming up, I think this weekend at Village Square Booksellers. Poetry open mic at maybe 1 in the afternoon.
And the library does open poetry mics.
Those are things to look at too. Is if you get a chance, hit down the Village Square Booksellers. They do a great job of promoting
They've
books
always got something going
and being
on.
open and having events on the weekend that you may not be aware of, and you should really check them out. We wanted to do a shout out because last week we were going to do our Tom Miller birthday special, and we got canceled because it was Tom's birthday, and we were going to do this whole half-hour tribute to Tom Miller and Chris Miller, of course, because we're with Tom.
The power behind
behind the throne is
exactly.
really
Where
Chris
would Tom
Miller.
be without Chris?
We know that, and but we heard that the Village of Bellows Falls may be giving them an award.
Here we go with fake news. Fake news.
That they have the cleanest driveway in Bellows Falls. That the people have actually accused them of having a heating system under their driveway because there's not a speck of snow or ice on their driveway.
Tom and Chris are diligent like that.
They are, but I was talking. There is a secret that they do have I've heard heating coils that they were originally tied to the Vernon nuclear plant. They were
now we're
part of their
really
cooling
going
system.
off track. I'm pretty sure Alex is like, just
Alex
cut
is
it
like,
down.
give it a break. All right, so this is it for the feed this week. If you want to be on the feed, let us know. We have some guests coming up. We do have a person who's coming up from Brattleboro Hospice. He's going to be talking a little bit about how preparing for the end of life. We have another guest, a new author in town,
yeah,
who's going to be
about
talking about longevity and health.
Health and longevity, tricks and secrets for health and longevity.
We're trying to coordinate that. We have a thing going with the fitness center where we're going to have a program about longevity, health, fitness, and all these things. So, Marty.
We made it through.
Thanks for coming.
Good to be back in the saddle. I missed it.
All right.
We'll see you guys
Goodbye,
next
Bells
week.
Falls.
That's it, folks, for the feed. Be sure to catch us every Wednesdays at 7:30 a.m. Also, find us on Facebook at Fact TV or tell us what you think. thefeed8@gmail.com. And don't forget to watch the feed online at www.fact8.com.